Good evening, boys and girls, and welcome to Lilac 10, a show where, once a month, I bring for your viewing pleasure my own top 10 list regarding anime. Halloween will soon be upon us, so I bring to you my top 10 anime series that you should marathon during the season of scares. This list is comprised of anime that will make you scream, mystified, and your mind grow weak. Basically, I'm creating this ranking based on what I would think would be scary or thought-provoking considering the Halloween season. And don't worry, I'm not going to be pulling that flashlight stunt for the entire video. Shall we begin? Not even a minute into the video and we're already calling in the vampires. But with good reason. Hellsing Ultimate has vampires, Nazis, and tons of blood and gore that I just had to include it.
Not only that, but the franchise has one of the most well-known vampires in the anime world in the form of Alucard. As Halloween fast approaches, more than likely people may pull out this OVA series for a fun watch. However, the series doesn't really have much horror or mystery to it, instead giving us a lot of action, which is why Hellsing Ultimate just barely makes the list.
And we're not even going to talk about the Hellsing TV series because that is a load of crap. This next list entry is a very recent addition to the wonderful world of horror. Tokyo Ghoul has many elements that make this a good anime to marathon during Halloween.
Like Hellsing Ultimate, Tokyo Ghoul is a lot more action-heavy than horror-heavy, but unlike Hellsing Ultimate, the series does have a psychological aspect that gets played out through our major characters, with Kaneki getting the most to play with, considering he does have a crazy ghoul's organs in him and she kinda messes with his head from time to time. The series also has one of the more tragic and yet beautiful mid-season finales that I have seen in a long time. The only thing preventing Tokyo Ghoul from climbing a few spots higher on this list is the fact that, as of now, the series isn't finished yet.
Winter can't come soon enough. Ghost stories are rather common when looking to create suspense and scares, and Boogiepop Phantom accomplishes just that.
This series centers around one single mystery and then proceeds to show us the events that occurred before, during, and after the mysterious phenomenon. The vignette animation style gives a different kind of tension and atmosphere compared to the other entries on this list. Along with the overarching mystery this series has, Boogiepop is a good watch for some subtle atmosphere and crazy supernatural elements. The reason why it isn't any higher on this list? A mixture of some unlikable characters along with a rather old dub that hasn't aged very well.
This next series, although I have my issues with some of the writing, I think it's still a fun watch during Halloween.
Lilac is more of an episodic ghost story series compared to straight-up horror or mystery. What I mean by this is the series spends much of its time in the realm of the supernatural, with many well-known folklore and legends being adapted to our modern-day setting, such as the monkey's paw and superstitions like the nail clipper. There are some comedic moments that the series provides, so it's perfect for those who aren't the best when it comes to horror.
And who doesn't like a good supernatural story every now and again? My next series takes on the form of murder mystery and adds some gore into the mix.
Another is one of the more fun murder mystery series that I have seen as of late, and is also another easy marathon. It has some complexity in its story and also some beautifully animated moments that help bring in a more psychological vibe to the series. The premise is simple to follow, making the marathon all the more easier.
However, the crazy ending is a little bit sporadic, so I'm just gonna leave another here at number 6. My number 5 series is shrouded in mystery and just oozes psychological aspects thanks to one character. I bet you can guess where this is going.
What Monster has at its core is a villain that you will try and analyze throughout the 74 episodes. If I had to compare this series and the vibe it gives off, Silence of the Lambs comes to mind, thanks to the similar in-depth look into both Hannibal Lecter and Johann Liebert. Not only that, but the look at many characters makes Monster a pretty decent character study into the minds of human beings.
The only downside is that 74 episode count, hence why it's at number 5. And we're back to vampires again. Hooray!
This time, however, we get a much more contemporary spin on classic vampire lore thanks to Shiki. Considering the amount of pansy and romanticized vampires in anime as of late, I was fully surprised and very happy with Shiki and its story. It calls back to the kind of behavior that vampires have during the good old days of Bram Stoker. Not only that, but its moral themes that are placed at its core give Shiki something much more complex than you would normally think.
Again, Shiki blends the old and the new rather well, making this series a nice one to watch for Halloween. Technology can sometimes be kind of scary, with the internet being a rather terrifying place, but imagine technology when it was still fairly new in the late 90s, and just add a psychological spin to it. Welcome to the world of The Wired and of Serial Experiments Lain.
Lain is one of those rare anime that has a message that can still hold up today. Not only that, but the series has some strong philosophical subtext, as well as a theme of communication to aid in the series' psychological tone. I may not have completed the series yet, but I have seen plenty of it to tell you it's a really good series to watch during Halloween. Now can I have those teddy bear pajamas, please?
I feel that sometimes that the best psychological series is the one where it's the most realistic, and although this one is not at 100%, Paranoia Agent gets extremely close.
This series takes the character study idea I mentioned with Monster and just turns the dial up a little bit more with the inclusion of our assailant Little Slugger, as well as more focus on the distressed minds of fewer characters compared to Monster. Also, there's the difference in our supposed villains, Johan and Little Slugger. If you've yet to see the series, I won't talk about that difference. Just know that this makes the psychological aspect of Paranoia Agent very contrasting. This series also gets extra points because the director, the late Satoshi Kon, is well aware of the human mind and is really good at blurring the line between reality and fantasy.
Paranoia Agent is just one of those mind trips that's so much fun to see, and I think it's an essential watch for any otaku, as well as a good thought-provoking marathon for Halloween. Now, I've seen a decent amount of horror anime. Maybe not enough to be an expert, but whenever I'm asked for a good horror series, this is the first one that always comes to mind, and I think it's totally appropriate for the Halloween season. My number one anime is Higurashi no Naku Koro ni.
This series blends many elements that other list contenders have. It has the murder mystery story of another, the intense amounts of gore that both Hellsing Ultimate and Tokyo Ghoul provide, and it has some rather crazy characters that both Paranoia Agent and Boogiepop Phantom supply.
Higurashi is just one of those gems in horror anime that you just can't ignore, with one of the most interesting horror stories that I've seen in a long time. Believe me when I say that Higurashi is the perfect anime to be marathoning this Halloween season. And there you have it, my top 10 anime for the Halloween season. Is there one I'm missing? Let me know in the comments below. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out the blog for much more content. Until next time, otaku on, my friends.